Good morning, everybody, and this is your Dow Jones day trade setups for today. And as I said yesterday, I wouldn't be wanting to go long in this area. We've got a rejection here. We are now stuck between the moving averages on the 8-hour. And whenever we're stuck between the moving averages like that, that constitutes a range. And here's a great example from in the past. Remember this little bit of chaos over 2 weeks. Did nothing until we broke through that, and then there was a pretty strong acceleration to the downside. So at the moment, trend is down. We are below the 155 EMA. Look at the crossover that's starting to brew here on your oscillators, and we are trying to find support here in the middle. So from an 8-hour perspective, there is nothing going on. This is a sit-on-hand scenario. When we start drilling down through the time frames, you can see from the 3-hour perspective, we've got above the moving averages, we've got a crossover of the moving averages, all bullish signals. We're looking for a retest, and that does look like what is happening. Look at the oscillators starting to separate as well. So this is something that you need to be paying attention to, and we're going to find the structure now on the lower time frames. But there's the previous swing low. You can see there's support or resistance before, support there, resistance, resistance there, keep swinging back, support. So pretty strong area that we are in right at this moment, and it coincides with all the moving averages. So if we start drilling down to structure from an hour perspective, big up, big down, just bear in mind on the daily that is a red pin bar, which is an engulfing pin bar from Friday's move up. So that is I won't say it's completely bullish, bearish at the moment, but it does indicate that nobody wants to get above the structure that was previously set, which is 31,536. So with the macro view in our head, what we're looking for is we're looking for an area of rejection or support. And where we are at the moment, this is a fairly strong level, as I've pointed out, which is 31,086, and it will probably extend down to 3,100, but we're sideways right now. Big up, big down. Not so sure. There's probably some results that came out that the market didn't like. For me right now, that is the closest area. There's actually two here. And this is the closest area of support. So you would expect us to come and test 3,900 or 3,760 area. You'd expect us to come down and test that for another move to the upside. But at the moment, we're in amongst the moving averages. On the higher time frames, it's just saying nothing. On the hour, it's also saying nothing. We're looking for pullback onto structure for an opportunity to buy at the moment, but this could fail today. So I'm extremely cautious right now. Big up, big down, that always equates to big confusion. If we look at this 15-minute, this is where I would take my lead from. We've got a crossover, and we're below the 155. So a break and retest of 31,086 is more than likely an opportunity for a short. Tight stop loss. You've got a 100-point stop loss, so it's just above the swing highs of today. Call it a 105-point stop loss, and this is your first target here, which is 149 points. So it's just a little bit better than a one-to-one trade, but that's kind of the view that I see on the 15-minute at the moment. So I would be watching the European Open. You may get a little. Let's just do that. If you see these tails here, that is the closest bit of structure. It also lines up with a bit of a Brooks gap here and the 155. So I would want to see us come and test an area up here. So for me, this is kind of the area I'd be looking for. Still a 100-point stop loss, because your stop loss is going to be above this little cluster of tails here, and then you're looking for a move to the downside. What you could end up getting is a pretty strong move like that to the downside. If I just get back to the hour, you'll see, let's move this level here and more than likely line up with something. There's the structure that it's going to line up with. So the higher time frames, we are definitely range bound. You can see we're range bound. So from an hour perspective, if we do drop below this range, then each one of these levels to downside is going to offer some support, and I'd expect price moving down to one of these levels, at which point you probably find a half decent area to be long again off one of these levels. So this is a clear range that is setting up at the moment. The only thing that is obscuring that vision for me at the moment is the 3-hour, because this structure that is brewing on the oscillators right now, and based on the area that we're in right now, this could backfire. So if you're starting to look for continuations down, it could very well backfire. And that's the one thing that you just need to be careful of. So if we do start finding support here, you'd expect a move back to the upside. So 50-minute trade is the way to go. Obviously, right now, structure is the downside, so you want to be favoring the downside. You want as tight as possible stop losses. So, I'd be looking for a 100-point stop loss. So, rejection of this level, 100-point stop loss, and then I'm looking for, firstly, a retest of this structure that's forming here, a break of this and a retest of that. Then I'd be of the opinion we're looking for more moves to the downside. But until one of those happens, it's wise just to sit quietly and wait. If you do get above this area here at 31,174, I'd want to see a pullback and a retest of it, which would give the moving averages a chance to actually cross over before looking for a move back to 31,536. Okay, so yeah, be cautious, guys. Keep your stops as tight as possible, and if you're unsure, stay out of it. I think we are range bound pretty much across all time frames, but there's mixed signals coming through, and for as long as we're bouncing up and below the moving averages like this on the higher time frames, there is no direction. So you need to be on the lower time frames and wait for the opportunity, get in, get out, move on, wait for the next day. Hope that helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.